U.S. manufacturing CEOs looking to boost output, add jobs, get better trade deals, and spend more on infrastructure. The Dow up 34, the Nasdaq down 25 on weakness in the tech sector. Late earnings from the Gap in line with forecasts, but it lowered its earnings outlook. And Nordstrom beat earnings estimates for last quarter, getting a big boost from sales at its off-price Nordstrom Rack outlet stores. I'm Tom Busby, CNBC.
Ace is a place with the helpful hardware, folks.
At Ace, your backyard's right in our backyard, which means we know which products are right for your lawn and garden. We can help you pick out exactly what you need to kick off spring from the best brands like Scotts, Miracle-Gro, and Roundup. Now through Monday only, print out our coupon at acehardware.com and save $15 when you spend $100 or more on regular priced items. Offer valid with coupon at participating stores through February 27th. Limit 1 per household. Exclusions apply. See coupon.
Just seemed like I just couldn't lose weight.
My digestion was really messed up.
Hi, I'm Dennis Black in Dallas, Texas. Good nutrition is a major factor in good health. But in this day and age, it's hard to eat right. That's why I created Texas Superfood. Texas Superfood is made from 55 raw, vine-ripened fruits and vegetables. In a capsule or a powder, you can see them all at TexasSuperfood.com.
To order, go to TexasSuperfood.com or call us at 877-55-TEXAS.
The NBA trade deadline passes at 3 p.m. Eastern time today. So far, aside from the DeMarcus Cousins deal between the Kings and Pelicans, we haven't seen much in the way of any major movement, though the 76ers on Wednesday did pick up Tiago Splitter and a second-round draft pick from the Hawks for Ersan Ilyasova, while the Nets sent Bojan Bogdanovic and Chris McCullough to the Wizards for Marcus Thornton, Andrew Nicholson, and a first-round pick. College hoops second-ranked Villanova lost its third game of the season last night. The defending champions beaten for the second time by Butler. The Bulldogs, number 22 in the polls, winning at the Pavilion on Nova's campus, 74-66. Third-ranked Kansas took care of TCU, 87-68. Number 6 Oregon got by Cal on a late 3, 68-65. Eighth-ranked North Carolina turned back number 7 Louisville, 74-63. Syracuse on a three-pointer at the buzzer, knocking off number 10 Duke, 78-75. And the UConn women made it 102 straight wins. They doubled up Temple, 90-45. That's sports. Mark Ernay, NBC News Radio.
Did you know that more than 100,000 people a day are downloading game apps? Mobile apps have become a normal part of everyday lives. Now there's a new exciting sports app that lets you play along with your favorite professional sports team in real time. With this fantastic app, you can predict the next play and even outguess your favorite team members. The more predictions you get correct, the more points you receive. Points can be exchanged for cool prizes, like your favorite jerseys, hats, airline tickets, sports tickets, even a new car. You can play this amazing sports app by yourself, with your friends, or even with a large group of fans from all over the world. This incredible sports app is called Fire Fan, and it's available right now. Check it out. Sign up today at www.freefirefanapp.com.
Hi, it's Jan Elliott in Snow Country, and the snowmaking has resumed at Mountain High on West Resort. Made several inches of snow on many of your favorite trails. Check out the trail report for a complete listing. Now at Bear Mountain, you'll find pack powder and machine-groomed snow, 24 runs open. June Mountain skiing over 30 trails. Fresh powder at June Mountain, where they just picked up another 1.5 feet of snow this week. Bear Valley skis all 53 trails. Storm total over 50 inches. Sugar Bowl as well. And Sunrise Park in Arizona picked up 6 inches of snow this week. They're wide open. Heading into the Rockies with Crested Butte, another inch of new snow on the slopes. 121 trails at full operation for Crested Butte. Sun Valley, Idaho skis 32 miles of terrain. Now they've had a snowy week too, up to 15 inches of fresh on the slopes in the last 3 days. More details are always at snowcountry.com. I'm Jan Elliott on the trifecta of talk, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM, the stations that leave no listener behind.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Tom Ladd. For this afternoon, it'll be sunny. Expect a high near 57. Clear tonight with a low of 40. Sunny Friday. Expect a high of 62. Clear Friday night with a low near 42. It'll be sunny Saturday. Expect a high of 63. Chance of showers Saturday night. Mostly cloudy with a low of 48. And a chance for rain Sunday. Cloudy. High near 56. That's your weather forecast for this hour from KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. And now, 102.3 FM, 3-in-1, the trifecta of talk in Southern California.
KCAA is your CNBC news affiliate. We're the station that gets down to business.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Now, everything old is new again. America's entertainment pop culture talk show.
It may well possess a rudimentary intelligence.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Felt a great disturbance in the force.
Hello, I'm Mr. Red.
Come on, bark like a dog for me.
Where's the goodies? Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
I bet you wouldn't have done anything like this if Mom and Dad were here.
You filthy criminal.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Here are your hosts, Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Welcome to Everything Old is New Again. There is a place called Everything Old is New Again over the rainbow. What do you think of that? Young wanderer himself, David Cohen.
What is this show about, Douglas Viviani?
I don't know. With the upcoming 80th anniversary of The Wizard of Oz in 2 short years, the Oz the Great movie, did you see this Oz Great and Powerful 2013, James Franco? I mean, that was a big success.
I missed that, but I know of it, but I did not see it.
It was a big hit. The success of Wiz Live, The Wiz Live on TV last year, right?
Yeah.
Wicked on Broadway for over, 20 years now?
About
15 years. The advent of NBC Emerald City TV show. I'm sorry to tell you, Oz is alive and well. So therefore, to me, it's a perfect topic for Everything Old is New Again, because since L. Frank Baum, his original and first novel, which was published in 1901, this series has not gone away, and it's time for Everything Old is New Again, perfectly and right up its alley, to take a look and take a trip to Oz all this time later, 78 years later after the movie. I want to take a trip, you and I, and go to Oz.
We're going to Oz?
You are going to Oz. I want to see what's going on in Oz these days. How do these people in Oz feel about all these incarnations, all through the years, incarnations of Oz? What do they think about the original movie? What do they think about the original actors in the movie? Are they jealous? Are they happy? What? Where do we go with this?
2 questions for you. One, why are you yelling? And the second one,
I'm excited.
Do I have a minute to pack, or are we going right now?
We're going right now, because right now, I hate to tell you, I see it. There's the Twisters around the block.
It's a twister.
All right, we're picking up the studio. It's being picked up as we speak. Twisted around. What do you see out the window there?
A lot of debris.
Debris. Who's riding that bike?
A lot of traffic on the LI-8.
All right.
Bumper to bumper here. Exit 42.
And there we go. And we are now landed in Oz itself. I'd love it. Could we just get some kind of like a welcome? What do you think? I don't know. Turn around the corner here. What do you think? What do these guys say? Oh, look at this. Oh, nice.
By the way, that was a really quick trip. It felt like it took 5 seconds to get there. That's pretty cool.
Twisters, the magic of radio. Thanks, guys. How are you, Munchkins? What are you all about? I mean, it's nice to see these little guys. They're still very colorful, very happy, and I don't know, we're being welcomed by them. It's nice to see.
Yeah. Did you hire all these people?
I did not.
We're really here.
We are here. Be careful where you stand there. There's a little something there from the horse of different color. You may not. It's the usual color. You may not want to step into that.
That's right. Could be a lot of Munchkin stuff sitting around too. You never know.
Be careful. Hey, well, who is this guy now? There's a lot of characters.
Who's what guy?
I've seen this guy walking this way. He looks like it's got like a big, like a head, like a pumpkin. You see this guy?
Yeah.
Now, if you read some of the books, that character, he's coming this way. You got to be a little quiet when I say it. But he was one of the heroes of this book series that L. Frank Baum created.
Wait, so he wasn't in the movie?
He's not in the movie. His name is Jack Pumpkinhead. Have you heard of this guy?
Is he a little upset because what's his view on that?
He might be. If you want, we can get a little bit of an interview. Before we do, on my cell phone here, I have a whole litany of stuff on this cell phone.
Oh, you remembered to take your cell phone. You wouldn't give me a minute to pack, but you took your cell phone.
I don't with the cell. What do you don't go? Listen. You got my cell phone sufficient because it has a little something here from the movie from 1985, Return to Oz. It'll give you a little piece of who this guy is, and maybe I guess attention. We'll see.
What is this? A man or a melon?
Oh, Pumpkin, if you please. My name's Jack. Jack Pumpkinhead.
so.
Oh, here we are. I just heard my story. Jack Pumpkinhead. That's my name.
Oh, hi, Jack.
I heard that clip. Where did you get that music from?
Well, apparently there was a movie made that included your character in it. Not.
Yeah, it wasn't the real Wizard of Oz, 1939. I like to have heard this for the last 78 years. I got to deal with this nonsense. I know.
Hey, Jack, can I just ask you to step a little bit back from the mic? Okay, that's.
Why, you don't like my voice?
No, that's better. That's better. You're just a little loud.
I like to be loud because I am in the land of Oz, and that's what it's all about.
What do you do here in the land of Oz?
Well, first I want to tell you, do me a favor, pick that stuff that's on the ground there. That's not it's seeds. You see this pumpkin seeds there? Could you please put them back into my head? But I'll let you know the pumpkin seeds, believe it or not, are my brains.
Wow.
If you read the second book, the original Oz second book, I have the brains in my head through the seeds. Okay. So now, let me tell you, I'm the hero of Oz. I'm the hero of Oz now. I'm the hero of Oz yesterday. I've always been the hero of Oz. I don't understand why I'm not in the movies. Do you know why? Have you seen me?
No.
Have you seen this movie in 1985?
Yeah, I saw bits and pieces of it, yes.
I'm the hero. Can I tell you my life story before we get into this kind of an interview?
Life story? Well, let's try to narrow it down a little bit because we're kind of pressed for time here. But what's your main gripe?
Well, here's the thing. I'm the hero of what's called the Return to Oz. Okay. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
Now, it was I who took Dorothy's talking pet chicken. His name was Belina. I want you to notice.
Are you making this up?
I'm not making it up. It's in the second book. It was in my head. Then I went to the Gnome King, who was ready to devour my head and devour everybody. The chicken that was in my head laid an egg. It fell. It fell from my pumpkin head into the gnome's mouth. And guess what? The gnome, when he ate the egg, it was poison to him. And he died. So therefore, I saved the day. Can I tell you that's what it's all about? That's where I'm at. Now, why don't I get any press?
Pumpkinhead, are you good at, like, making barbecue stuff? I'm just curious. You sound like I don't know, you'd be a good
no,
chef.
I'm not a good chef. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, well, sorry, you just reminded me of someone else. So let's get back to the topic at hand. So you are the hero of Oz.
I'm the hero of Return to Oz, and I'm therefore now I'm the only guy left. All these other characters, they took off. They went on to the bigger, better things in Hollywood and so forth. I'm the one that's left here to hold the bag. I'm holding the bag in Oz.
You must be pretty lonely.
I'm lonely and I'm pissed. I'm like the Pete Best of Oz. If you understand. You know who Pete Best is?
From the Beatles, yes, the guy who was who they fired actually for Ringo.
Right, the original drummer. He could have had a great life.
Right.
Instead, he had the miserable life, just like mine.
Are you married? Do you have a family?
I got nothing. I got seeds in my head. I got seeds that fall out of my head. If the seeds don't fall out of my head, I'm thinking. If they fall out of my head, I don't think.
I don't mean to laugh, but so what do you do? What do you do for amusement now?
I grow pumpkins in my backyard. You know why? Because the pumpkin on my head right now, they last about a day and a half, 3 days tops, depending upon the weather, and they rot. So I need to replace my head every 3-4 days.
You have to replace your head every 3 or 4 days.
In the book, so we should read a book. We should read a book once in a while.
It's much more interesting talking to you, actually.
And I don't know why I'm not in the movie. Was it some way the way I talk? Is that what it is? I got a lazy tongue, they say. They don't like the way I talk.
Well, maybe you weren't in the movie because what you did happened after the first, the first part of the Oz story, right?
I'll tell you what. The Scarecrow knighted me in book 7. He knighted me.
Wow.
That means I'm a pretty cool dude.
That's a pretty big
strong
honor.
Man. Yeah.
Right.
I'm not in that Emerald City. I hear you got the Emerald City back in the States there.
Yeah, it's on NBC. Friday nights at 7.
I'm not in that.
Yeah, no, you're not.
I don't know why. I'm in the 1985 movie, Return to Oz. It was very good.
Right. What can I do when I go back to wherever we're from, not Oz? What can I do to help your cause?
You guys spread the word. Spread the word that Jack Pumpkinhead is a big head. And he got a big head with a lot of brains as long as it don't fall out. And he would like to sit on the couch next to Jimmy Fallon, please.
Jimmy Fallon. I'll give him the message.
All right. Thank you.
Best of luck to you.
All right. Good luck to you.
Today, how to incorporate your business in just 10 minutes so you won't lose everything if you get sued. Step 1, stop putting it off. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business tomorrow, it's not just your business at risk. You can lose everything: your home, your car, even your life savings. Step 2, call the following number for a free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-940-7237. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating quick and easy. so you can incorporate or form an LLC in just 10 minutes. That number again is 1-800-940-7237. Step 3, congratulate yourself. By taking just 10 minutes to incorporate your business or form an LLC, you protected your home, your car, and your life savings. And that is how you incorporate your business in just 10 minutes. But hurry while they're still giving away these 10-minute incorporation guides for free. Call 1-800-940-7237. That's 1-800-940-7237.
This show is sponsored by the law office of Douglas Viviani. Douglas Viviani has been providing quality legal services for over 26 years. We are a general practice firm and can handle any legal matter you may have for a reasonable fee. If you were involved in a car accident, starting a business, planning your estate, or need of a criminal attorney, please call 631-681-1910 or email us at vivianilaw@aol.com. Get the justice you deserve. Contact the law office of Douglas Viviani.
Anyone can create a podcast on the web. In fact, there are millions of them online. But if you want quality internet talk radio, just remember this address, TalkZone.com. TalkZone is internet talk radio for planet Earth with talented hosts, great guests, and good conversation. Ready to share your thoughts and ideas with a global audience? Become a TalkZone show host yourself. Learn more at TalkZone.com. Internet talk radio for planet Earth.
TalkZone.com. Wishing for a little bit more information? You'll get it all here on KCAA Radio.
U&I Auto Truck Parts and Wrecking is loaded with 15 acres of used, salvaged, and rebuilt parts for your car or truck. Sure, you could go to any wrecking yard, but U&I has what it takes. Expertise, high-quality products, and the finest customer service you'll receive anywhere. U&I makes custom drive shafts, furnishes full warranties on all their parts, and keeps up on industry changes. Call 909-888-6841. You'll be impressed by the fast and friendly response from the U&I skilled staff. You can also go to the Contact Us page and request a part. U&I hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 8 till 5, and Saturday, 8 till 3. U&I Auto Truck Parts and Wrecking is located at 1435 West Rialto Avenue in San Bernardino. Check out the U&I webpage at the letter U, the letter I, autoparts.com, or call 909-888-6841. 909-888-6841.
It's time for the KCAA Community Calendar, brought to you exclusively by Learn for Life, a growing network of public charter schools. The clear mission of Learn for Life is to motivate and mentor students who have dropped out of school and provide them with the personalized education and technical training necessary to advance their lives.
Here's a look at the KCAA Community Calendar. I'm Di Rice. Experience the West's railway heritage with the largest collection of locomotives, passenger cars, freight cars, and cabooses at the Orange Empire Railway Museum in Paris. Take a ride on the museum's demonstration railway and feel the clickety-clack of street wheels. Hear the train whistles and streetcar bells. Get a grand tour, visit the gift shop, and learn about the West's railway heritage dating back to the 1870s. Trolleys and trains operate every Saturday and Sunday from 11 until 5 p.m., including major holidays. Steam trains run every third Saturday and Sunday of the month, and special events are held throughout the year, including a major annual fall event and a spring rail festival. Make plans to check out the Orange Empire Railway Museum located at South A Street in Paris. Call 951-943-3020 for more information. That's 951-943-3020, or go to oerm.org for the Orange Empire Railway Museum. And that's a look at the community calendar on KCAA 1050 AM.
The KCAA Community Calendar is presented exclusively by Learn for Life, a growing network of public charter schools where students can complete their education on a part-time basis. To find a resource center nearest you, call 1-877-360-LEARN or visit Learn for Life online at learn4life.org.
On the next My Awesome Empire, local entertainment, Lori Bryant discusses the world-class racing that has the world talking about Glen Helen Raceway. Then the founders of Riverside Rep tell how a whole city made this special theater project possible. And a Rancho Cucamonga teen tells us why that city is the best city. My Awesome Empire.
Del Walmsley here. The first thing you're going to have to learn is that until you stop expecting our politicians or anyone else to change your life isn't going to change. The only person who can change your life is you, but you need to know how. Listen to my show, the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. Right here on KCAA, now broadcasting on 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM, the stations that leave no listener behind.
KCAA Loma Linda, your CNBC news station for the Inland Empire.
You're listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Then I'm sure to get a brace, a heart,
a home,
the name.
Oh, we're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Here he is, the Wizard of Wiz, if ever a Wiz there was. If ever a Wiz there was, the Wizard of Oz was one because.
Hey, welcome back to Everything Old is New Again. This is David Cohen. We are in literally the land of Oz, and I am here interviewing Jack Pumpkinhead while my partner, Douglas Viviani, is doing some recon looking for some other characters.
I've got news for you. I've met the wizard. I've met the wizard more times than those characters singing that song.
Okay, Jack, just back again.
I'm not backing off. I'm not. I'm upset.
Just a little bit. I understand you're upset. We're going to get it all out. But just so people can hear you and understand
I don't know why I'm being ignored. Now I'm getting told what to do. I'm getting direction. I am the king. I am this particular little area, this 5x5 area here.
So beyond the 5x5 area, tell me a little bit about the relationship you have with the other characters, like the Scarecrow, Tin Man. What are they like? What's your relationship with them?
Ever since that stinking movie came out, they were nice guys before the movie. Ever since that movie came out, the egos are out the wazoo.
The Eagles?
The egos.
Oh, the egos.
Ego.
Ego.
Like Rushkin.
Understood.
Yes, the egos are very difficult to deal with. And I'm going to give you a couple examples, all right? You ready?
Yeah, I'm all ears.
I have a cell phone here, too. We're not in the back end.
There's cell phones. There's a 4G network here in Oz?
No, we're not that advanced. We still got to plug the phones into the wall, and they work that way. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. But
it doesn't make any sense, but okay, go ahead.
It's like a phone in the box. So the phone in the box, you put the phone in the box in the phone, you have everything.
All right, yeah. So anyway, your relationship.
You don't know what a phone in the box is? You never heard of a phone in the box? Phone in the bag with the phone in the bag? Okay.
Really don't know what you're talking about?
If I say it 3 more times, you understand? A phone in the bag, a phone in the bag, a phone in the bag.
I doubt
the first cell phone, the phone in the bag. Ever heard of a phone in the bag? Okay. I want you to listen to the Scarecrow getting a bomb.
Wait, you're going to play audio?
I'm playing audio because I carry this around me. It's under my claw. It's a grocery store called Safeway. They hired this guy based on the fame of this stinking movie. Listen to what he's all about here.
How can I feed my family good food on a budget?
It's easy with Safeway Scotch Pie. A whole new brand of thrifty products and a good quality is backed by Safeway, like it says on the label.
Safeway puts its name on them.
Proudly. Hi, Scotch Pie is thrifty and Safeway makes it good. Scotch Pie. It ain't fancy, but it sure is good.
You know, that's a Scarecrow. A Scarecrow's voice. You know, that's a Scarecrow. Right. He can't even sing. It's horrible. But he gets that role. I would like to have some of these commercials. He made a lot of money from these commercials.
Yeah, the fact that you're summoning these audio clips out of thin air is pretty impressive, and I really feel like I'm in a magical land.
Well, if you had someone across to you, wouldn't you keep the evidence with you at all times?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, wouldn't you have a lawsuit going? Wouldn't you want that evidence on you at all times?
I imagine I would.
Well, this is what I'm doing. I got brains. I go. They call I fall. The seeds fall again from the books. If you read it,
and in all this stuff that you've been doing, has speech therapy ever entered the equation?
You sure heard the way I used to speak. Holy smokes!
All right. So who else do you have?
I got. Listen,
what
you know
your other gripes?
That Tin Man.
Yeah.
He thinks he's who he is. Okay, he's not who he is, but he thinks he's a big dude. He almost got his comeuppance in this commercial, the SpaghettiOs commercial. You can't hear much, but I want to tell you. What happens is this: he's got a sign on his back, a SpaghettiOs sign, and all the kids think. Right. He's a big, giant can of SpaghettiOs. I wish they would have caught up to him and opened them up. Let me just listen to this. You'll see. The ego's out the wazoo.
Oh, my. Lock the doors, Jimmy.
Oh, boy. That's him saying, oh, boy, a couple of times. He can't even talk, this guy. It says, oh, boy. I could have done that commercial.
Right. Well, your speech is much better than
Thank
his.
you.
So, all right.
The Tin Man, that commercial, there's a Chef Boyardee commercial. He made a lot of money from that, too.
Chef Boyardee,
Everybody's making money off of the characters. I made no money. Nobody even knows who Jack Pumpkinhead is. But I'm here.
Oh,
I'm the guy.
I just got to adjust the volume in my ears. Hold on.
Try and get your attention. I got to tell you.
Who else we have?
We got the Cowardly Lion. Of course, you know who the Cowardly Lion is, don't you?
Sure.
All right, listen to this guy pushing potato chips. Holy smokes.
What have you got there?
Lay's potato chips. Bet you can't eat one.
That's absolutely absurd. How toothsome. I'll have another.
Oh, no. I said just one.
Lay's potato chips. You can eat 1,000,000 of them, but nobody can eat just one.
All right, might be true. I mean, I like a Lay's as much as the next guy, don't you?
Lay's potato chips?
Lay's potato chips.
Sure.
Yeah. What do you think I'm talking about?
They're very tasty.
Yeah. I like a Lay's potato chip, but listen, I don't want the Cowardly Lion selling me a potato chip. And when he's selling me a potato chip, I got news for you. I don't want making all this money from this. They don't share the royalties at all with anybody here in Oz. They're famous. These three dudes, they're famous because of this movie. Why can't I become one of their, what would you say, sidekicks at least? You want to answer my question?
I wish I could. I wish I could help you.
I'm having trouble. I'm really having trouble. I'm upset with these guys, and
what
I'm not getting...
What about, has Dorothy been back? Can she help you?
Dorothy is the start of the word, the letter of the word that I would describe starts with the B. I'm not going to say it, but that's what she is. She's turned into, she's got an ego like you can't believe. I heard Shirley Temple was going to be playing that part. She's a nice little girl, so it would have been fine. In fact, Shirley Temple didn't get the role because she wanted Jack Jack Pumpkinhead to be in the role. So she's, but this other one, all she cares about is that dog Toto. All she says, I can't find Toto. Where's Toto? Why can't I have Toto? Why couldn't I buy Toto? She thinks she could buy dogs because she liked the dogs. She wants Toto. Where's Toto? Toto broke his foot during the performance of the show. Where's Toto? Why can't I get Toto? He's out of my hand. Why did Toto make more money than the Munchkins? All these questions. All she wants to know about is Toto.
All right, let me ask you two questions. One, can you please stop saying Toto? And number two, can't the Wizard of Oz... What about the wizard? He's the almighty, the all-being. Can he help you?
He's a fraud. The wizard's not a fraud. Did you see the movie? He's a fraud. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Have you heard that thing?
Yes.
He's a fraud, this guy. I'm the magic. I'm the real magic. So, I'm a talking and walking pumpkin.
So you want to go back out of Oz to Hollywood or New York to shoot a commercial to make money. That's what I'm getting at.
At this point in time, I like to at least have a little royalty. Can I sit back and relax? It's 78 years ago, this movie. You have any idea how many pumpkin heads went on my head? I got replaced it every 4 days.
Every 3-4 days, yeah.
There's a lot of pumpkin. I'm an expert. If you want, I could teach you a little something about, you know about barbecues? I don't know about barbecues, but I could teach you how to raise a bunch of pumpkins.
I got a guy back home that's really good at barbecuing stuff.
I don't know anything about barbecues. I know fondue. I don't know anything about barbecues.
You mentioned barbecue.
I don't know anything about barbecues, but I know about fondue.
You just said barbecue.
Well, I don't know anything about barbecues, but I know about fondues. What do you like worse, Toto or barbecue? Which is worse? You're laughing at me, but I'll tell you what.
I'm laughing with you.
That's called comedy. Okay, I understand. This guy, Milton Berle, you ever hear this guy, Milton Berle?
Sure.
He was in a lot of movies back in the day. Burt Law, the actor that played this Cowardly Lion in this movie,
yes,
he's giving Milton Berle some advice. I don't.
It's another kid.
He goes out the muzzle.
You got to make people listen to you in here. They got to like you, feel sorry for you. It ain't the jokes, kid. It's what you are. People forget jokes. Sure, they remember laughing. But what sticks with them when they leave the theater is the nice things the comic does. Like spending his last dime on flowers for a girl that don't know he's alive. Everybody loves a clown, kid, because he can make them cry 2 seconds after he gets a belly laugh.
I got no problem making people feel sorry for me, that's for sure.
No, you're pretty good at it.
I got no problem making them cry for just listening to this interview. I have trouble making them laugh. That's the problem.
I have one question for you.
Yes.
So we've been talking for about 10 minutes. You're saying your head disappears every 3 to 4 minutes. I haven't seen it happen yet.
Minutes? No, days. Every 3 or 4 days. What happens is it's a piece of fruit.
I see. Okay.
It's going to deteriorate over time. You understand what I'm saying?
I see. My mistake.
Okay.
So how can I help you? How can I get some recognition? I know you talked about Jimmy Fallon before, but maybe something a little more realistic.
Do you know a good lawyer that can get me a contract that gets me some royalties for all these commercials these characters are performing?
Okay, I'll try.
There's no good lawyer you should know about.
Well, there's one out looking for another interview right now. My partner, Douglas Viviani, he might be able to
hand me his call. I'll give him a call when I get back to my pumpkin patch.
All right, we might be able to help you.
Thank you. Bye, Toto.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Ely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-5543. I used to be so broke. I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-960-5543. 1-800-960-5543.
When you're seeking to change your career, apply for a promotion, or are trying to find a job, your resume is the first thing that's seen that represents you to a potential employer. Make sure your resume makes a clear, concise, and professional impression of who you are so you can get that job interview. Send your current resume to ResumeDrInc@AOL.com for a free online review. You'll receive a timely reply with a reasonable quote to properly prepare your resume. Let them make sure you have a resume that will get you noticed. Send your resume or questions to ResumeDrInc@AOL.com.
I want my own website, but I don't know where to start.
Start at Pear. Pear offers hosting plans that are perfect for someone who's just starting out.
But I'm not really tech savvy.
Not to worry. Pear has WordPress hosting packages.
What's WordPress?
It's web software that even a beginner can use to create a beautiful website.
So where do I start? Pear.com?
Pear.com. As in, we make a perfect pair.
Pear Networks Web Hosting. Tell your friends.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, K292FQ Riverside, and K293CF Moreno Valley.
NBC News Radio, I'm Tom Roberts. White House spokesman Sean Spicer is trying to clarify President Trump's remarks about his administration's aggressive crackdown on illegal immigrants.
The way it's being done, by all accounts, is being done with very a high degree of precision and in a flawless manner in terms of making sure that the orders are carried out and it's done in a very streamlined and efficient manner.
Earlier, Trump said the crackdown was part of a, quote, military operation. Spicer told a briefing that the president was using that as an adjective. President Trump's top 2 advisors are pushing back against reports of internal conflicts between them. Chief strategist Steve Bannon said the relationship between him and Chief of Staff Reince Priebus is never put in a positive light.
If you look at, the opposition party and how they portrayed the campaign, how they portrayed the transition, and now they're portraying the administration, it's always wrong.
Speaking at CPAC, Bannon said the two share a common goal, and Priebus noted that he and Bannon share an office space together, and they're together for hours each day. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is speaking positively about talks today with his Mexican counterpart. Tillerson calls them forward-looking and productive. In a joint news conference with Mexican Foreign Affairs Secretary Luis Videgaray, Tillerson said the U.S. and Mexico must work closely together on problems of border security and migration. Authorities in North Dakota say they have cleared a camp of the last Dakota Access oil pipeline protesters. Dozens of protesters were arrested after a deadline for them to leave passed yesterday afternoon. The sound of clinking glasses could become a thing of the past in Boston.
The City Liquor Licensing Board may require bars where repeat violent incidents have happened to start using plastic cups. The board chair says they've seen a string of assaults at city bars involving glassware.
That's Lisa Carter. Alaska is losing its only professional sports franchise. The minor league Aces hockey team announced today it will cease operations after 14 seasons. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Tom Ladd. For this afternoon, it'll be sunny. Expect a high near 57. Clear tonight with a low of 40. Sunny Friday. Expect a high of 62. Clear Friday night with a low near 42. It'll be sunny Saturday. Expect a high of 63. Chance of showers Saturday night. Mostly cloudy with a low of 48. And a chance for rain Sunday. Cloudy. High near 56. That's your weather forecast for this hour from KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM. 3 and 1, the trifecta of talk in Southern California.
Now, back to America's entertainment pop culture talk show. Everything old is new again, with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. He is a wizard, a whiz, if ever a whiz there was. If ever a whiz there was, the Wizard of Oz is one.
Because, I don't know why, but we're at Everything Old is New Again. We are at Oz. I don't know why that cuts off like that, but I got to tell you, that was a nice little, we're off to see the Wizard from Fame, the old TV show. I'm walking around Oz here. I don't know what David is. He's interviewing some character with a head made of pumpkin. I don't know how he's taping that. I hope there's something we can get out of that. I don't know what he's doing. God doesn't follow me anywhere. But regardless, I'm down the road, the Yellow Brick Road, and I'm investigating what's going on here in Oz as is after the 1939 movie. It's, 78 years later. And I'm running across this character here, and he's telling me that he's the agent of Oz.
That's right.
So do you have a name? Or do you have a special name?
Agent of Oz is my name.
Agent of Oz. Okay.
No, it's Harry Bernstein.
Oh, Harry. All right.
Yes.
Now, Harry, I would like to know, what does it mean to be the agent? How did you... I don't know, you represent what? The entire Oz itself, or some of the characters?
I'm the only agent in Oz. So, I'm the only agent.
So you represent Munchkins, you represent, this Cowardly Lion, and the actors, and the actual characters.
I'll ask this question of you. If I'm the only agent in Oz, who else would be representing everyone that you're talking about?
There's no competition. That's pretty... I don't know, it's a pretty nice opportunity. What, the Scarecrow line you up with that when he became king?
Yeah, usually if somebody belches, they excuse themselves. I don't know if it's a piece of fish that went down wrong or something, in
our off time, you gave me that gefilte fish, and boy, it doesn't really sit too well with me right now.
Maybe it's the horseradish you took with it.
It's gefilte fish of a different color, and I don't think the color was proper.
Anyway, listen to me. I am the agent of Oz. So yes, I've represented all of these people. I have some clips here if you want to...
what do you have? Like, what's my line? This guy, Ray Bolger, right? I mean, he's a big hit for you. I've heard of him.
How did you know this was coming up?
I know what you're going to do.
But yes, to answer your question, Ray Bolger...
Who did he play? Who
knows who these people play? I just booked them.
Well, I mean, in the Wizard of Oz. Who was he in the Wizard of Oz? Remember?
He was one of the characters.
Oh, my God.
Does it matter?
Must be a great agent.
Who he was?
Deal of comedy. Well, there are occasions when I find it necessary to do comedy.
Once in love with somebody.
Once in love with Amy?
Yeah.
That's Ray Bolger?
Yeah.
Oh, Ray Bolger!
When was that from? What's my line? I know that. What year was that? You got a clue?
It's like in the 1900s.
I think it was 1958. I'm not sure.
Close enough.
Now, was that Johnny Carson's voice I heard?
Who knows? Why are you asking me these questions for?
Oh, you're some agent. How much did he get for that, for appearing on What's My Line?
Well, I'm going to tell you how much I'm making. How much are you making doing Everything Old is Shtick Again show?
All right, we'll try one more time. Do you have any other presentation? I'm not going to answer how much I make, but how I make as much as you do. Let's put it that way.
I doubt that very much. I doubt that very much.
Do you have another actor that you're promoting at all that's been on some TV show?
Sure. Have you heard of the actor Burt Lahr?
I have. Let's see what he was on What's My Line?
Listen to this.
He played in a motion picture the part of a lion. Yes.
Oh, it's Bertie in loyal to MGM.
The answer, yes.
So what is this show, What's My Line? It's like 1960s. What was that?
It was a show where you had to go on and guess what the people did for a living.
All right, and they guessed Burt Lahr and Ray Bolger in the clip before pretty quickly because they were so popular. Still, like 30 years later. I mean, you had to make some money.
If you know these answers, why are you asking me the questions?
you had to make some money from these guys. Come on,
I made a lot of money.
Now I know there were like a lot of like movies that revisited the original story of Oz. Did you have any participation in any of those? I mean, are you an agent, for all of Oz?
I am the agent of Oz.
All right, so the agent of Oz, then you had to have some participation in the Tales of the Wizard of Oz from, like, 1961, correct?
Oh, that? Sure, whatever they did. Listen. Whatever had the word Oz in it, whether it was the Tales of Oz, the Heads of Oz, the Tushy of Oz, I get paid for it.
What percentage you get? You get a percent?
I can't disclose that. My attorney gets very upset.
All right, here's one that I'm not sure made any money, but let's just listen to. I've got a clip here for the Tales of the Wizard of Oz from 1961, a cartoon. Crazy.
They're three sad souls, oh me, oh my, no brains, no heart, he's much too sharp. But never mind you three, here's the wizard as you can see. He'll fix that 1, 2, 3 in the funny place called the world of Oz.
Now, do you remember that?
I do. I made $1.7 million off that.
There's no way. I don't think anyone on the planet even saw that series.
All right,
but I want to know, like, that's a little bizarre. Like, there's no Dorothy in that. It's the wizard has become the star of the show. Like, would you get a bigger percentage for the wizard?
Sure, yeah, whatever, yeah.
So
how about the next clip?
Well, I don't know.
I don't remember this stuff. It's happened in the 50, 60 years ago.
It must have been a pretty popular project, though. The 1961 to have a cartoon made of it.
I have the magic touch. What can I tell you?
What was the next thing you did? I know you had some kind of say in this.
I probably went to the bathroom. That's the next thing I did.
And you got the Journey Back to Oz from 1972.
Then after I came out of the bathroom, I did this.
And you will do what happens.
Remember Judy Garland and the Yellow Brick Road? Now, Liza Minnelli recreates the role of Dorothy in the new, exciting, full-length musical adventure, Journey Back to Oz.
I've been wanting to meet you ever since your last visit to Oz, when you destroyed my cousin, the Witch of the West, and helped a miserable scarecrow to the throne of Oz.
So that's a sequel to The Wizard of Oz, correct?
I guess. I don't know. It had the word Oz in it, right?
Now, who is this Liza Minnelli? How'd you get her lined
I'm asking you questions. You're not answering anything.
I'm interviewing you.
But you're talking at me. You're making me very uncomfortable.
Who is this Liza Minnelli starring in this thing, this Journey Back to Oz?
Who's Liza Minnelli? Come on.
How did you get Liza Minnelli?
Judy Garland's mother.
Daughter?
Daughter.
How did you get Liza Minnelli to take over the exact role of her mom in 1972 in this feature film that was an animation?
It's my charm, Douglas. If you couldn't tell already, it's my charm. It's very easy for me to convince people to do whatever I want them to do.
It sounds like you had to use your charm to get Ethel Merman in there. Boy, she was a piece of work.
She was a ballerbuster. I'm not sure what that is, but she was one.
Then you had that Milton Berle. Now he's playing the lion. First he was talking to Burt Lahr, right, about the lion. Now he's playing the lion.
Yeah.
What about this guy? There's a couple of characters in it I'm not familiar. Well, Mickey Rooney, is a scarecrow, right?
I can't get a word in edgewise with you. I keep trying to say something and you're talking over me.
Tell me about this movie. Tell me about this movie.
What do you want to know?
I want to know, is the Pumpkinhead in this movie?
Yes.
How did you get that guy work? He seems like a little disgruntled.
Seeing
him over there.
But listen to me. It wasn't him. I got another actor to play him. Have you listened to this guy talk?
Who played him?
Is that Paul Lynde guy?
Yeah, Paul Lynde doesn't have any talking problems, huh?
Well, a little bit. But
a little affectation.
He's okay. You call it what you want. I know this in radio. You got to be careful. But listen. This Pumpkinhead guy, Jack, the real Jack Pumpkinhead, he can't talk. I can't understand a word he says, so that's why I can't get him any work.
Oh, really? He's got what? He's got a speech impediment? He's got a problem?
A severe speech impediment.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I've seen him.
How am I supposed to get him casted anything?
I looked at his head, though, I got to be honest with you.
It's scary.
It's kind of, I mean, I don't even know where the tongue comes from, where the language comes from. It's like a pumpkin head that's been hollowed out.
And like every, 3 or 4 days, she's got to replace his whole head.
Yeah, so it gives it a different look, right? It'd be hard to produce that.
Aye.
All right, well, we'll be back on Everything Old is New again after
Kansas is full of good men.
A few words from our sponsors on Everything Old is New again. Oh,
I can tweet.
Who's Twitter?
Where troubles melt
Toto?
like lemon drops.
Who's Twitter, Toto?
I swear to God, I can tweet.
What's your Toto? We'll be back. Everything Old is New again. .biz.
Honey, what is that in your CPAP mask?
Oh, that's just my mold collection.
Oh, gross. And what is that?
What, that bacteria colony right there? Yeah, cool, huh?
Okay, CPAP users, admit it. You're not always as careful about cleaning your system as you should be. Unfortunately, a dirty mask and hose can make you sick, respiratory infections, allergy attacks, and more. But now there's an easy way to protect yourself. SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It kills 99.9% of CPAP germs in minutes. For a limited time, you can try it risk-free for 30 days. Just call 1-800-961-5285. So Clean is hands-free. Just pop in your mask, close the lid, and presto, your CPAP comes out clean and fresh in minutes. Don't let germs wreak havoc on your health. Call in the next 10 minutes for your risk-free trial. 1-800-961-5285. That's 1-800-961-5285.
Say, Charlie, why the arm in the sling?
Yeah, I walked straight into that busted street sign in front of Frank's Automat.
Well, you must have been really sore at him.
You said it, pal. I said, say, what's a big idea of making a fella trip out there? I was going to sock him right in the kisser.
He's all wet. Why, you ought to sue him, Charlie.
I have half a mind to do just that. But where am I going to get that kind of dough?
Say, I know a fella just got me out of a big jam, and he didn't break the bank.
You don't say.
Yeah, the law office of Douglas Viviani.
The law office of Douglas Viviani?
That's right, the law office of Douglas Viviani.
Viviani.
That's what I said, Viviani.
Are you a straight shooter?
He's a cat's meow.
He's on the up and up?
Doug's ace is with me.
Is that so?
He's a bees.
Well, that's just swell. You have his number?
You can call him at 631-681-1910 or email him at vivianilaw.com.
Wait, what was that last part?
What, email?
Yeah, what's email?
vivianilaw.com.
Hi, I'm Todd Bayer.
And I'm Stephen McKee.
And we're the hosts of the Flip Flop Investors Radio Show. Have you ever heard of those weekend seminars where they sell you those $40,000 real estate courses that promise to make you a millionaire in the next 2 minutes? Before you blow your life savings, check out our show and learn how to get started from us right here for free. Tune in every Thursday at 4 p.m. on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM, NBC News Talk Radio.
Inland Body and Paint is a family-owned and operated fleet collision and repair shop that's proud to live in and help our community. Bring your heavy-duty trucks and or equipment to their Fleet Collision and Paint Center in Fontana for expert collision repair services. With 35 years of experience, you're sure to receive quality workmanship at an excellent price from Inland Body and Paint Center. From fiberglass repairs to quality painting, they'll take care of your truck and equipment from top to bottom in their new 64-foot spray booth. By the way, Inland Body and Paint of Fontana repaired and repainted the KCAA truck, and they can do the same job for your car, truck, or heavy-duty equipment. Inland Body and Paint, dedicated to the community and to your satisfaction. Call them today to learn what they can do for you. You can find Inland Body and Paint on Valencia in Fontana. Call them at 909-434-0466 or online at inlandbodyandpaint.com.
KCAA Loma Linda, your CNBC news station, where your business comes first.
This is Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
Where my brain should be, there's a cavity.
Where most folks have hearts, I've got old spare parts.
Now I'm on my own in the great unknown.
And it's more than one person can bear.
There?
Where?
Welcome to Everything Old is New again. We are in the land of Oz, David Cohen and myself, and I've brought them in. David, you're now back over here.
Yes.
I brought you over in with this character. What is this character's name again?
I've got the Jack Pumpkinhead.
Okay, all right.
And you brought in someone you met.
Yeah,
Harry Bernstein.
Harry Bernstein's here. They seem to have a history, these two guys. So
yeah, but we figured let's try to do a good deed before we went back home.
Right, we can get them together, and maybe we could, I don't know, patch over some of this.
I'm not talking to this guy. I've talked to him before. He wants to be cast in something. He can't even say 3 words without anyone understanding.
Like these Muppets. You saw those Muppets? You have those Muppets? Those Muppets can talk. That Kermit just gets a job as the Scarecrow. Gonzo's the Tin Man. Fozzie Bear's a lion. It's insulting.
Jack, listen to me.
It's insulting. Muppets can get cast. I can't get cast.
First of all...
Muppets? You know what? By the way, the Peanuts are better than the Muppets. I never heard of that.
First of all, your diction suddenly got very much... clear. I can understand you now. I don't know what happened in the last 10 minutes, but after 500 years, suddenly you're speaking like a normal person.
It's 100 years to begin with. Number one, and it's a brand new head.
No.
When the head gets old, it gets used up. It causes problems.
Well, why didn't you say that? We can do that because if we work with a window of time when your head is fresh and you can speak, we can get you cast.
Well, somebody had a misunderstanding. It's been going around this rumor that it takes a new head every 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh, that's my fault. Sorry. Yeah.
Everything listen, Pumpkinhead, settle down now. This rumor's been going around a long time. This guy, David Cohen, I don't know where he came that from, but I got news for you. I bet you got that on Wikipedia. Is that where you got that information from, David Cohen?
I'm sorry.
Don't laugh. This is my life.
I don't mean to laugh. I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to spread the rumor.
Okay.
Can this actually happen with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, listen, let me tell you something, guys. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there's The Wiz on Broadway. There was The Wizard of Oz on, what they call it, the East End by Andrew Lloyd Webber. And there was The Wiz on television on NBC. I want you to listen to what's going on now in the world of Oz where we are.
Jack,
see if you can jump.
can't take his clips anymore.
Come on, he's on down the road. Don't you carry nothing that might be alone. Come on, he's on down the road. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. We hear he is a whiz of a whiz, if ever a whiz there was. He's on down the road. Don't you carry nothing that might be alone. Come on, he's on down the road.
These musicals, I can't sing for nothing. What is that music? I mean, there's no music in Oz. Have you heard music? Have you heard one song since we got here?
Have you ever met someone who carries around clips of songs who is this guy?
Yeah, these two guys, where do they come from? Listen, guys, just because we have a little bit of the technology than you do doesn't mean we're better than you. Don't be jealous about it. I have something. I'm prepared. I'm interested in the topic. I have got this stuff right at my fingertips just to bring you guys back together.
Yeah, listen to him, guys, really. I mean, we're just trying to help you guys out.
But I can't sing. You're playing me stuff to sing. It's annoying. I can't sing. I can barely talk. You want me to sing? Stop with the singing. It's not. No, we're just using that as an example. It's just an example that it's alive and well. Dave, will you please step in here a little bit? I'm trying to explain to them that Oz is still alive and well. This guy Brillstein, he wants to go home and not. He wants to just lay around and go to bed and take royalties. It's time to get involved. There's more product here.
Yeah, come on, guys. You can do it. If you work together, we bring you back. Jack, you can be a star. Harry, you can make a lot of money. You got a brand new client. This could work for both of you. So you got to get over the little petty differences and the differences now you're having even with us, okay?
I have a problem with this guy, Harry. He just wants to go home. All he wants to do, he says 101 years old, he's tired. That's all he wants to do. How about another agent? How about this guy, Viviani? Can he be an agent?
I don't know. Listen, you talk to him. He's a lawyer. Maybe he can help you.
Listen, I can do it, but I'm not allowed to solicit. If you come to me independent without me asking you, that's a different story. I can sign you up, no problem. But I think Harry knows the business. He's pretty good on this. No, Harry?
I just offered to help the poor schmo, and now he's saying he doesn't want my help. This is what happens. It's like a vicious cycle.
Because you want to go home, go to sleep. You say you want to go home, go to sleep.
No, listen, I want to help you, Jack. Let's go back with these two schmendricks. Let's go meet somebody in Hollywood or New York and get you some work.
Can I tell you something? You missed the boat. I don't know if I want to or not. I'll tell you why. You got that Indina Menzel from the Frozen story? The Frozen. Are you following me?
What is this guy hitting me with, Indina Menzel? What are you talking about?
There's a play called The Wicked. Okay? It's called The Wicked. And it's on the Broadway. It was a big hit, still a big hit. They don't put me in. I don't know why I'm not in that either. Listen to the little piece of the wicked here. Listen how beautiful this is. Okay, she's got the voice of an angel.
You're playing clips now? What is with you, Jack?
I'm prepared because you know why? I'll tell you what. I had clips in my pocket from all the old days, all these old guys. I got clips of the lion there. I got clips of the scarecrow. I got clips of all these guys. I'm carrying around all the evidence with me that I need to win this lawsuit if I ever decide to bring it. I want royalties. But instead of the royalties, I'll give it up. I would like to have a part in the next incarnation of Oz. Can you do it for me?
I can do it. If you promise not to play clips, I will do it for you. Is that a deal?
Well, what kind of part am I going to get? What do you got lined up for me here? I'm not a song and dance man.
How about we get your part as Jack Pumpkinhead?
I would not. It's not really much of a...
Can you do Jack Pumpkinhead?
I can do Jack Pumpkinhead.
You sure you can do Jack Pumpkinhead?
I can do... I did it in 1985. In that movie, 1985.
No,
you look back a little bit.
Listen to me, you schnucklehead. That was not you. I hired someone else to take your place.
That's true. Yeah.
So now, all right, grow a new head.
That was the Return to Oz story, if you remember.
When are you growing a new head?
Well, I don't grow the heads on top of my head. They're growing in the farm right now, down the road there.
I think it's about time for the new... Listen, when you get the new head, we get your work. It's all
this is what I'm good at. I'm good at some comedy. Right, listen to this and give you a little idea of what I would like to do.
You've always had the power to go back to Kansas. Excuse me? Are you out of your mind? You came down in a big bubble. I would have believed anything that you said. How do I get home, you witch? Just click your heels. Click my heels? Listen, baby talk, I'm about a hair away from punching you in the face. Click my heels, then what? It better be more complicated than that or I'm gonna go ballistic. You have to click your heels and say, there's no place like home. You would have been home in 2 seconds. I could have been home 2 seconds after I got here?
Oh, this is something else, huh? I mean, that's supposed to be funny for the Mad TV.
They're arguing with each other like you and I do.
Yes, I like the idea. That's what I could do. Now, can you line me something up like that with the Mad TV? Is it still on the air?
I will try.
You think Mad TV is still on the air?
I don't know.
Okay, so this is the problem. I don't want... I'm not doing What's My Line. I'm not doing... What's that show? The What's My Line? They all did the Ray Bolger, the other guy, the Merlin. I'm not interested in What's My Line. I want to do a movie. Can you get me a movie with this language I got going?
You keep asking me these questions, Jack. I'll help you. Yes, I will help you get a movie. Something where you don't have to say that much. Something that requires somebody with a pumpkin head. I will find it for you.
Oh, I like that idea. How about a Halloween movie? How about Tim Burton? You think Tim Burton would need a Halloween head kind of a character?
I think that's a great idea. I will call Tim Burton. We'll try to get you
I think
set
the problem is he's already done that. I think he's already done that. It's called the Nightmare Before Christmas. Remember that. Something not on top of the... You're not on the game.
I'm getting such a headache right now.
You're really not on top of the game.
Don't you guys have to go home?
Do you ever leave Oz?
Don't you have to go home? Take me with you, please.
We're going on back to everything else. Look, yeah. Come on, guys, stop fighting, please. Could you just get along? We're just trying to have some fun here, all right? Here's the future of Oz. This guy is passed away, but he did a nice version. We'll be back, and everything goes new again next week. Have some more fun with pop culture.
Playing some dead guys' music? What's going on?
If your credit card debt is out of control, if you're in over your head dealing with monthly payments, there's a powerful secret the credit card companies don't want you to know. If you have more than $5,000 in credit card debt, you have the right to settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. That's bad news for credit card companies, but it's great news for you. We're Credit Associates, and we're offering you free information on how to virtually eliminate your credit card debt and make your monthly payment affordable. To see how much you could save, call now, 1-800-976-3267. Don't declare bankruptcy. Give us 10 minutes and we could save you thousands. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. Credit Associates. Live better debt-free. Find out how easy it is by calling now. For the secret the credit card companies don't want you to know, call Credit Associates now and see how much money you could save for free. Call 1-800-976-3267. That's 1-800-976-3267.
LI Geek is Long Island's up-close and personal sci-fi and fantasy convention. No giant lines, no masses of humanity, just a fun weekend at the Hyatt Regency Long Island this April 22nd and April 23rd. Get up close with stars such as legendary performer Felix Silla. There's interviews, Q&As, guest speakers, and discussion panels. It all happens this April 22nd and 23rd at the Hyatt Regency in Hauppauge, New York. For more information, visit longislandgeek.com or find us on Facebook or Twitter.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
I'm Tom Busby, CNBC. The new U.S. Treasury Secretary told CNBC today his goal is simple, passing new tax reform legislation by August. Stephen Mnuchin also said President Trump's economic policies will boost economic growth by more than 3% starting next year. On Wall Street, the Dow did it again, closing at another fresh all-time high, adding 34 points today, getting a lift from utilities and energy companies. The Nasdaq, though, hurt by some slumping tech shares, was down 25%. Oil was higher, even though U.S. stockpiles of crude rose again this week for the 7th week straight. The biggest decliner today, shares of L Brands. That's the owner of Victoria's Secret, down 16%. With fewer people heading to the mall, fewer people are shopping in its stores. And late earnings from the Gap and Nordstrom, both pretty solid, with Nordstrom Rack outlet stores getting a lot of credit, but both retailers expecting drops in revenue this year. I'm Tom Busby, CNBC.
Ace is a place with the helpful hardware, folks.
At Ace, your backyard's right in our backyard, which means we know which products are right for your lawn and garden. We can help you pick out exactly what you need to kick off spring from the best brands like Scott's, Miracle-Gro, and Roundup. Now through Monday only, print out our coupon at acehardware.com and save $15 when you spend $100 or more on regular priced items. Offer valid with coupon at participating stores through February 27th. Limit 1 per household. Exclusions apply. See coupon.
It just seemed like I just couldn't lose weight.
My digestion was really messed up.
Hi, I'm Dennis Black in Dallas, Texas. In a capsule or a powder, you can see them all at TexasSuperfood.com.
To order, go to TexasSuperfood.com or call us at 877-55-TEXAS. That's 877-55-TEXAS.
NBC News Radio, I'm Tom Roberts. White House spokesman Sean Spicer is trying to clarify President Trump's remarks about his administration's aggressive crackdown on illegal immigrants.
The way it's being done, by all accounts, is being done with very a high degree of precision and in a flawless manner in terms of making sure that the orders are carried out and it's done in a very streamlined and efficient manner.
Earlier, Trump said the crackdown was part of a, quote, military operation. Spicer told a briefing that the president was using that as an adjective. President Trump's top 2 advisors are pushing back against reports of internal conflicts between them. Chief strategist Steve Bannon said the relationship between him and Chief of Staff Reince Priebus is never put in a positive light.
If you look at, the opposition party and how they portrayed the campaign, how they portrayed the transition, and now they're portraying the administration, it's always wrong.
Speaking at CPAC, Bannon said the two share a common goal, and Priebus noted that he and Bannon share an office space together, and they're together for hours each day. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is speaking positively about talks today with his Mexican counterpart. Tillerson calls them forward-looking and productive. In a joint news conference with Mexican Foreign Affairs Secretary Luis Videgaray, Tillerson said the U.S. and Mexico must work closely together on problems of border security and migration. Authorities in North Dakota say they have cleared a camp of the last Dakota Access oil pipeline protesters. Dozens of protesters were arrested after a deadline for them to leave passed yesterday afternoon. The sound of clinking glasses could become a thing of the past in Boston.
The City Liquor Licensing Board may require bars where repeat violent incidents have happened to start using plastic cups. The board chair says they've seen a string of assaults at city bars involving glassware.
That's Lisa Carter. Alaska is losing its only professional sports franchise. The minor league Aces hockey team announced today it will cease operations after 14 seasons. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Tom Ladd. For this afternoon, it'll be sunny. Expect a high near 57. Clear tonight with a low of 40. Sunny Friday. Expect a high of 62. Clear Friday night with a low near 42. It'll be sunny Saturday. Expect a high of 63. Chance of showers Saturday night. Mostly cloudy with a low of 48. And a chance for rain Sunday. Cloudy. High near 56. That's your weather forecast for this hour from KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM. 3 in 1, the trifecta of talk in Southern California.
KCAA is your CNBC news affiliate. We're the station that gets down to business.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the greatest real estate investment show ever. Here's the flip-flop investor himself, Todd Bayer.
Hey everyone, how we doing out there in Radio Land? This is the Flip-Flop Investor Show, where we talk about real estate investing locally here in the Inland Empire, but we also talk about real estate investing in general. My name is Todd Bayer, and with me today in the studio we have the president of the Inland Valleys Association of Realtors, Paco Lycia. How you doing today, Paco?
I'm doing good, sir. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Paco, you took over as president, was it last year?
This year. So as last year I was president-elect. As of January, I'm on the job.
So you're new at it. You're like 2 months in, and how's it going so far?
I like it. A lot of travel.
Yeah?
Get to meet a lot of people.
That's cool. Yeah, and you, as part of being president, you have a lot of responsibilities to the Realtors Board and everything. You got to go places and.
Yeah, our job really is we fight for our industry, property rights.
Yeah.
And so, statewide, federal, whatever it takes, we do it. And so, from going to Sacramento, Washington D.C., to meeting with our local congressmen and politicians to make sure they understand the importance of home ownership.
Yeah, and homeownership is on the rise.
It is on the rise, and we got to make sure, because there's a few things coming down the pipeline where interest deduction and stuff like that they want to take away from us. So we're there to make sure they understand the importance of it, and it's absolutely on the rise.
Oh yeah, this is a flip-flop. This is the investor show. So it was actually interesting. We went to lunch today, and you're an investor too.
I am, absolutely.
Which makes you a very unique individual, because there's not a lot of real estate agents, brokers like that are also investors. We talked about it a little bit, how like 80% of agents don't even know how to work with an investor. They don't even know what I've heard about agents that would turn away a listing on a property that would be a great investment property for a flipper or something like that. But you've been investing since
2005.
Yeah, so you've been doing it a while now.
Yeah, we've the funny story is kind of like you, is I just you play enough in real estate that opportunities start to present themselves.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where it's like, why am I giving these opportunities away to investors?
Right.
So I decided to research it myself and start doing it.
And it's not complicated.
No, and I think that's the thing, is people always ask me, is it difficult? I said, they're just numbers. They either make sense or they don't. So there's nothing too complicated about it. The complication, it comes in where we try to overanalyze. We try to force things that aren't there.
Yeah.
And, of course, we talked about this earlier. It comes with experience, too.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make enough mistakes to understand what you can and can't do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we talked a little bit about some of those mistakes today at lunch. So, I don't know. We'll probably get into that at some point. People like hearing about it. It's just one of those things that people are afraid to get into real estate investing, or even to get a real estate license. People are afraid to do it for whatever reason. People are oftentimes in their heads about, how I'm going to fail, and what I'm going to, like, all the things that could go wrong. And they don't just try something just to do it. And, you have to fail in order to succeed. And so, you were obviously investing prior to the crash. So
yeah, I was investing prior to the crash, and then the crash happened, and I went along with the ride. And I'm talking about the crash.
Oh yeah.
But one thing I will say, touching on what you just talked about, is, back in those days, I invested in everything imaginable as far as education was concerned.
Oh yeah.
We talked about the Robert Kiyosaki and
Yeah.
Donald Trump and all these gurus that are out there, and they were great. But it wasn't until I got into it, and more importantly, it wasn't until I lost everything because of the crash that made me realize how to do it and how not to do it.
Yeah.
So that was the best education. So going back to it is, you have to go in knowing you're going to fail before you figure this out.
Right.
You just can't sit on the sideline and expect it's going to go right every single time.
There's a saying that we've heard around for a while that says you'll make money in real estate in 5 years. It just won't be your first 5 years, but you have to be willing to put in the time, take your lumps, so to speak, because it's not easy in the beginning. There's a huge learning curve, but once it clicks, and, no longer is it hard to find capital, especially once you have a track record going. No longer is it hard to find the deals even. And a lot of people, those are like the biggest two things I get. People ask me, like, where do I find the money and where do I find the deals? Because I used to think before I got into real estate that in order to buy a house, I need to have, a couple $100,000 in cash sitting in a checking account somewhere. And that's not true at all. You don't need cash of your own. Other people like to invest in real estate alongside you. So, you've definitely gotten access to a lot of these different people over the years.
Well, yeah, and it came with experience. Like I said, it got to the point now where a lot like you is, either bring the money or bring the property. And so you find the people on the side that have the money, but don't have the experience, don't have the time. And real estate, it's real estate. You own it. So you could touch it, you could see it. So that is a lot easier for people to invest in than the stock market where they don't see it. They have no control. Like I always tell people in real estate, it's simple. I know what my acquisition cost is going to be. I know what my repair costs are going to be. I know it's going to cost to resell it, agent commission, title, escrow. I can pretty much very accurate. I know what the market's telling me right now. And if I have enough room, even if the market adjusted 15% down tomorrow, I still would make money because I know I had enough room for that.
Yeah.
So those are all given numbers. Those are easy. But I think we go into it when we don't know, and we just make it like this, this grand experiment, and it's not.
A lot of people, I'm sure you've seen these things too, and a big part of it is people don't know how to evaluate property. And so, they don't know how to run comps on something, and they end up pulling comps that are like a mile away from the subject property. And you're like, yeah, this house is going to sell for $500,000. You're like, well, it would if it were in that neighborhood that sells for $500,000. But you're in the $350,000 neighborhood, and you're the size of the $350,000 house. So we get deals from people all the time that say, the value is going to be this, and the rehab is going to be much less than it actually would be.
And that's them forcing the numbers. That's them pushing the numbers on the high end. The other thing I always when I look at a property is, I always have two exit strategies, and you actually brought it up earlier, which was, if I can't sell it, I can rent it and still make money. So to me, that's the education I got from back in the day. Back in the day, my exit strategy was just sell it.
Right.
And when the market crashed, I had no real exit strategy. Now it's, okay, if worst case scenario, if I had to rent it, am I still okay? And if both of those parameters are met, it's a winner.
Yeah. For us, our exit strategy on the bad side is, let's assume we finish the project and we're sitting there and we can't sell it. The agreement we have with our investors is, if after 1 year, if we haven't sold it, it's not in escrow or anything, we just deed the property to them, and it's a rental. We already know going into it what the rent is, so we already know what their estimated cap rate is going to be, and that's it. We can wipe our hands of it at that point. The property's theirs, and it may not be the same return they were hoping to get as a flip, but it's not a negative. Unless values go down, which I don't think any of us are really expecting values to go down anytime soon.
No, we don't. I mean, inventory's down. Actually, I was running the numbers earlier today. Inventory's down from the last few years, specifically February. It's still early, but inventory's definitely tighter. We obviously know that construction is not keeping up with what we need.
Never has.
We know if you're under a certain price point, specifically FHA, maybe 350, 370, those don't last, because that's where all a huge percentage of the first-time buyer and millennials are competing, right? So under that price range, there is nothing, and everything keeps getting pushed east or to the desert.
Right.
And I remember when I first started in 2002, everything was west of the 15.
Okay.
Then it was west of the 215.
Yeah.
Now it's west of Banning Beaumont.
Right.
And so you're slowly seeing all of that. And, at the end of the day, inventory is not where it's supposed to be, and rates, as we know, are going to go up. Went up a little, not enough. I mean, I still historically, when I first bought my house in 2002, when I graduated college, I had an 8% interest rate, and that was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when somebody says I got a 4.7, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Really, dude? 4.7, you're complaining?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, historically, look at it. It's still a great time to buy.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, it really is. And you know, I just ran some numbers for January. You know, because January's done now, so we run all the January stuff. I just did that yesterday, and you know, looking at months of inventory, we're still pretty quick. I mean, we're looking at maybe 6 to 7 months of inventory in the entire Inland Empire.
Right.
You know, and inventory is, for those of you that don't know out there, is basically if we stopped taking on any new listings and just sold off the existing inventory that's currently on the MLS, it would take approximately 6 to 7 months to sell everything at the current rate of absorption. So that's pretty good. I mean,
it's good, and I think it'll get better. I think you know, last year I saw a lot of clients putting off a lot of stuff till this year. You know, one thing that's interesting to me is the millennials. People always talk about these millennials, and actually, I think you're a millennial.
I'm like the first year of a millennial.
Okay, so you know, millennials. You hear all this about millennials, and there's nothing wrong with millennials. They just have delayed. When I first, I'm a Generation X.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first graduated college, my first thing was buy a house right away, move out, buy a house.
Yeah.
Millennials are just postponing it a little bit longer.
Sure.
They want to travel, live with mom and dad. They have their set plans. It's not a priority. But what's happening is the millennials are getting married.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it's like, uh-oh, I need my house. So what's happening is you're getting delayed. But millennials, right now what we're seeing is a lot of them can buy, but there's no urgency. And what creates urgency is higher interest rates.
Yeah.
So people assume when rates go up, we actually don't have as much business. It's actually the opposite. We actually get busier.
I think another thing too, and you don't hear a lot of people mention it, but it's you know, the millennials, when it came time for them to buy, like when it was first time, like if you go traditionally with the Gen X, the Gen Y, all these people going down the road, you know, that time when they got out of college, well, a lot of millennials were getting out of college, and it was during the recession. So, you know, they have very fond memories of like their own parents losing their homes. So I think millennials are the most jaded generation going into the first-time home buyer market. So I think for them, it's just hard for them to even get in on a property in the first place, because a lot of them had their parents or family members or somebody affected by the downturn. It's fresh in everybody's minds still.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, because I could tell you of a lot of people that that was one of the factors. They said, you know what, I want to save more because I don't want to go through what my parents went through.
Yeah.
So I get it, because you know, today I put on my social media, buying a house is the most stressful time of your life, with exception to death and divorce. And we know that because buying and selling a house is emotional.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
You got it's the highs and lows of when things are going good, you're high, and when things are going low, it's like, what do you mean I'm not going to get the house?
Oh, I know.
And so, you know, I'm in the business, and when me and my wife bought the house, or we got this last house, we didn't get the house we wanted, and she's like, make it happen. You're in the business. Like, no, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
It appraised for $20,000 less, and I'm not giving him an extra $20,000.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. But so it's very emotional, and then you add what you just brought up, which is the other side of it, which is not only is it emotional, but I saw what my parents went through.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't a lot of motivation to want to try to get into that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of parents out there, they lost a ton of equity. That's not to say they didn't like refinance and, you know, go out and buy a bunch of toys and have a good time in 2006. But, you know, on top of that, they also have like crazy amounts of student debt, you know, which is a big deal. And I think the financing wasn't really available too, because millennials, you know, whatever, grass is greener on the other side of the fence, whatever. But they move around a lot in jobs too, so you know
they have to find themselves.
Yeah, you know, is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. It's just a new economy.
It is what it is. It's like a gentleman, Jared James, who's a coach of mine, said, you know, people keep talking about millennials. No, this is just the market.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not bad. It's just the market. You know, but I'll tell you what the disconnect is. The disconnect is this, because this is coming from a realtor standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Paco the realtor talking right here.
All right.
The disconnect is that the average buyer, even throw the millennials in there, is the average buyer is in their mid-30s if you add everybody up.
Yeah.
But the average realtor is in their mid-50s.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this disconnect where millennials now are driving the market. It's the biggest chunk. They love social media. They want text messages on everything.
Yeah.
They don't want to make eye contact. It's they grew up with a screen.
Yeah.
And then yet you have these realtors that have been in the business for 15, 20 years. They didn't grow up with any of that.
They didn't have a website yet.
Yeah, exactly. Their business card, the picture's still from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And so you have this disconnect because their expectations are this.
Yeah.
But yet the agents are still doing it the way it was done.
Right.
And as much as we try to explain to the industry that this is happening, it's hard for people to come around and see that.
And it's weird, because real estate it's sort of it's an old business where there's still a lot of old elements to it. And I think what's weird is that some people want to bring the new too much into the industry where it's still a people business. You still have to get in front of people and have FaceTime with them. And when I say FaceTime, I don't mean the app on your iPhone. I mean actually sitting down face to face with somebody. It's still a mandatory thing, and everybody's so used to at this point buying everything online. I know a lot of people during the holidays are buying I bought every gift I think I bought at Christmas time
Amazon
online.
Prime?
Mostly on Amazon, yeah, using Prime, of course, because 2-day shipping,
I mean, and it's free. But the funny thing is that you bring that up is that the biggest fear in our industry for the last few years was Zillow and Trulia.
Yeah.
They're going to take over our business.
Eventually.
We're going to be the travel agents of what happened to the travel agents.
Paper pushers.
Yeah. But the reality is, with all the technology and everything that's going on, there's always going to be a job for us because it is so complicated. It is so many moving parts. It is that, technology has allowed them to use the data so they could see what we see.
Mm-hmm.
And so now instead of them calling me up and saying, what houses do you have to show? They're calling me up and saying, here's the 3 I want to see. But when you still get into the escrow and the contracts, you must have a realtor there.
Yeah, you need somebody to explain the documentation.
And take care of you, make sure that everything is done legally, that you're protected. And that element's not going away. So really, that was the fear.
Mm-hmm.
That was the fear. And it's still the fear to a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I think, and going back, I had my mom on the radio show a while back, and my mom's an appraiser. She's been around doing it a long time. And we talked a little bit about how selling a house was in, say, 1980, for example. If you're selling a house in 1980, the real estate agent had these books. Every office had a book of all the listings, and you'd have to go from office to office to try and find the house that matches what your client's looking for. It was a lot of legwork. You'd have to go down to the library and look at microfiche things to look at documents and stuff like that. That were the recorder didn't have online documents. The title company couldn't just email you a thing. If you consider the commission that an agent earned back in 1980 for the amount of work they had to put in versus today, I mean, now a lot of times agents, I've heard people describe them as glorified attorneys in a way where they're just kind of guiding people through the paperwork and more or less hand-holding them through the properties and kind of giving them some realistic expectations as to what needs to happen at a house, because I'm sure you've heard the paint color complaint a few times, the paint color's not right and I'm not going to buy this because of that.
Yeah, it's what you do is you set the right expectations and you educate on what they can expect and not expect. And more importantly, I mentioned to this, we're babysitters.
Yeah.
You have an appraisal, escrow, inspector, the other agent, the seller, title, termite, the appraiser. It only takes one of them to screw up to delay everything.
Yeah, and they do.
And exactly. So it's our job.
It's more rare when a file happens where none of the delays happen.
I'll be happy to say that I had a file that closed last month that closed so quickly with no problems.
I almost thought something got missed or something.
No. I almost felt like I didn't deserve the commission. Almost.
Yeah, I know. Almost. Just, we had I sold a triplex in Reno Valley, and Lance Martin was our agent on that one. And me and Lance we closed escrow, and Lance called me kind of confused, and he's like, "So we closed escrow today, and that went really smoothly." He's like, "We didn't miss anything, right?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." He's like, "Okay. Cool, that was great." He's like, "I wish every deal was like that." It was kind of funny. Everything, the seller, everything, the inspection happened. The seller went out and looked at it.
Isn't it amazing when everybody does their job? It's the exception to the rule.
Yeah, you get blown away by it. I still remember it. It was what otherwise would have been just a normal sale of a property. For me, it was actually noteworthy and. It was funny.
And the funny thing is the fact that you remember it because you understand on the other side the ones that don't go as planned and the one where there is. So from a realtor standpoint, we're always going to be in the middle of the transaction. We're always going to make sure that it's being done right. But you're right. Technology has made it easier, but also I would argue has complicated things. Because one of the number one things I run into is Zillow says my house is worth X amount, and I'm like, you do realize it's an algorithm.
Yeah.
They don't check anything else. It's an algorithm.
Yeah, it's based upon some things, but appraising is not a science. It's an art form.
That's right.
Especially if you get into a tract home. Let's assume you have like a neighborhood of 5,000 homes, and they're the exact same. Zillow's going to be pretty good at coming up with that value because those comps are going to be very similar. You're on flat land. It's the exact same floor plan, but if you add a little element of a hill in that neighborhood, and if these homes were built at different times by different builders, add in any of these things. They have pools. They don't have pools. They have a nice patio or balcony. I mean, you start adding stuff like that in. That's when the appraiser has to say, how much is that really worth to a buyer? We were talking last night, actually, after the club meeting. We were talking about a house in Yorba Linda. This is a 19,000 square foot house on the top of the hill in Yorba Linda.
19,000.
Huge. It's a huge house. They bought 2 additional parcels next to it, one for a giant fountain, I think, and then one for like a huge basketball court for the other 2 parcels on this. They want something like $22 million or something for this house. But the weird thing about appraising something like that is you have to figure, what else can I buy for $22 million in Southern California? And here you're buying this giant thing in Yorba Linda, which is amazing for 1995. It's the epitome of what you want a house to look like in 1995, which means if I'm to buy it, I have to demo the entire inside of this thing and redecorate the whole thing. But they what can I get for $22 million? I'm looking at Laguna Hills. I'm looking at Malibu. I'm looking at all these great places I could buy a $22 million house with an amazing ocean view, and I'm not looking at the 91 freeway. That's my view at this house. So we are thinking like, okay, you guys might be a little off on your value here.
And it's funny you bring that up because one of the things I realized in analyzing the last 12 months, original list price compared to actual sales price.
Yeah.
They all went down every month.
Yeah.
Because what's happening is that it goes back to, I honestly think it goes back to a lot of the Zillow where what's happening is you're meeting with these clients and saying, all right, your house is worth $500,000. And they say, no, Zillow says it's 520. No, it's $500,000.
Yeah.
So you have this expectation that is, they have one, you have one, you show them the data. So what I do in my situation, I say, okay, I'll tell you what. Within 14 days, the market's going to tell us if you're wrong or not.
Yeah.
Period. So we'll list it at your price. And if in 14 days we don't get the action we want, we'll list it at my price. And then I put that in the listing. So
that's a good way to do it.
So that way you could see them. But if every single month it was down, because what's happening is they're overlisting these prices, these houses.
You're dealing with a good agent, and you can. I'm sure. Have you ever run the number where you actually pull every single agent and you do the original versus sale and see who's selling it more?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, like sometimes those are good. I like to talk to those agents sometimes because they're on it. And they're good at dealing with their clients too. Like where they get them like down to the realistic value right away.
Well, what you'll do is you'll see a lot of these realtors that you could tell which one's going in and tell the clients what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that also have the long, the 4 months DOM because the days on market is 4 months because they're like, well, this is what the client wants, so I'm going to give him what he wants. They tell them what they want to hear as opposed to what they need to hear.
Yeah, who's the expert?
Well, Zillow says that the seller is.
Yeah, so Zillow's clearly the expert, right? Yeah.
Zillow and Truly, I gotta love them.
Yeah, they're. I remember when AVMs started coming on the market because my mom being an appraiser, I was working with her. Like everybody was starting talking about, and there was other ones around at this time. There was I can't remember the name of it, but there was this company, and they were hiring appraisers, sort of like a multi-level marketing thing, and you were going to go out and you owned a zip code as an appraiser, and your job was to go out and photograph every single house in that neighborhood. This is before Google Maps.
I was going to say.
And you'd photograph every house every year, and you'd give it a value, every single house in your zip code. And that's how they were going to do like AVMs, automated valuation modeling, was going to be based on an appraiser's actual like walk-by appraisal value of this property. And the software never took off, but I know my mom had bought into a couple of zip codes in Moreno Valley because it seemed to be the next wave. But I think the technology in that case was ahead of the industry where nobody was really ready to adopt anything like that. Because, at least for us, when we were doing the appraisal side, we'd get calls from like brokers and stuff all the time that were saying, like, can I get a value check? They'd call an appraiser to get a free valuation on a property where we'd run comps and, it's like after a little while, we're like, I want $50 for this. It still takes time out of my day to like run comps. I want $50. So,
well, that's all the BPOs now, right?
Yeah,
except
BPOs. I mean, those, man. I did a couple of those, like helping out a buddy of mine, and yeah, they're just.
I used to do a bunch of them for asset managers back in when the 2010, 11, 12. I finally told them, I don't care. This is not worth my time.
For the worth, for the work.
It
it's
is
crazy.
not worth my time to go take pictures and do all this and that.
Yeah, and it's a ton of pictures you have to take, like one of every corner of the room, and
And that's assuming you can get in.
Yeah. I didn't have a problem getting in any of the ones I did, but I'm sure people did have problems. There's a guy that he comes to the club, or he used to. I think he moved to San Diego. He's done like 500 BPOs, and yeah, I'm sure he ran into some problems like that.
Yeah, well, that's how they would get you, though. They say, do BPOs, and then maybe we'll give you some assets to be able to. It's like, no.
Yeah.
No.
So, let's see. Flash forward a little bit, because I guess we were talking originally about prior to the crash, you were buying and stuff, and you'd gotten into some commercial property, and this is where the drama happens, right?
Yeah, so like everybody else, back in 04, 05, I spent every dollar I had on learning investing, and I decided to get my feet wet, and I bought a few rental properties that went well, and then I decided one day go big or go home, and I went and bought a $2.75 million commercial building.
Wow.
It was only 10% occupied, and by the time I got done, it was 90% occupied. I had 2 anchor tenants. So I did everything I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Put it back on the market for $4 million, was going to make $1.3 million profit, and had it in escrow, and the lender that was doing the loan was Lehman Brothers.
Ooh.
And you know what happened to Lehman Brothers? They went out of business.
Yeah.
And it stopped, and the market crashed, and I ended up doing a short sale on it, losing money. Same with my rentals, and that kind of, that happened. It was the first time I had ever been in a down market, because I became a broker in 2002. First time I ever had dealt with a short sale. I didn't even know what they were earlier. So I had to figure all this out, and so, like, we talked earlier, it took me a few years to figure out, get back on my feet, figure out how to do this. And then a few years later, I went into, I interviewed, well, I guess interview is the right word, with a hedge fund that we talked about that owns 2,000-3,000 homes out here in Southern California. When they first came to the Inland Empire, they went to Ivar, and they said, send us 7 of your top brokers. And they interviewed us, and I was one of the ones that made it. And we pretty much took a commercial model to residential rental properties, and for 3 years, they were my only client. Literally, my only job was to find rental properties for them.
They were buying hundreds of properties.
And it was, you just go out. It was up to us to do the analysis. It was up to us to figure out what the construction costs were, put in their formula, submit the offer, and that was it. And, we'd close in 7 days. Cash. Boom. Done. And then that lasted 3 years before they, they stopped. They slowed down. They actually started buying out smaller investors.
Yeah.
It was easier for them to do the groups, the blocks of properties, than try to do individually.
Yeah, because we were selling at one time like 7 properties, and we sold 3, I think, to Invitation Homes.
Invitation Home, THR. They were THR, then Invitation Home. So that happened, and then after that, I decided, well, you know what? This is a huge hedge fund. They have people from Stanford working on their formulas.
Yeah.
So why can't I take the research that was done and apply it myself?
Yeah.
And that's where I got into now, investing and doing flips on my own and applying their business model and then tweaking it as we went. But and now we bring forward, and now let me be very clear. My number one job is I'm a real estate broker. I help people buy and sell houses. That's
your day job.
That is my day job. Yep. I've been a broker for 15 years, and I love it. But now, because of what happened in 08, 09, and 10, I'm a very smart investor now. I don't panic. Like we said earlier, it either makes sense or it doesn't.
Yep.
There is no, back maybe in 07, 08, I would have tried to force it. Well, maybe if I do this.
Yeah.
Now it's like, no, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know. I'm guilty of it, because I used to think if I stand on one leg and turn my head sideways, this deal looks pretty good from that angle. But now it's like if the numbers aren't just jumping off the page at me, I don't even want to deal with it.
Yeah.
We had one today, come in. Actually, right after we got back from lunch, I had somebody in my office waiting to talk about a deal, and it's a HUD property.
Okay.
And it's still not open yet for everybody. It's still at the stage where it's got to be an owner-occupant that buys. And he wants to submit an offer, and I'm like, well, that's not a good idea because you're not going to live in it. So you're putting yourself at a pretty big risk there. And he's like, well, when does it go? And I'm like, usually it says on the listing. I pull up the listing, it wasn't in there. So then I called the agent, and she wasn't very nice to me. But
really,
people that have HUD properties I've found are usually pretty jaded. But who knows? It was a pretty short phone call, with her ending it pretty mad at me because I'm not an agent, so she doesn't like the fact that some investors calling her about a property. And all I wanted to find out was when is this going to be available to everybody. That's all I had a question for, but I didn't get I didn't even get a chance to ask that question. She just cut me off. So
yeah, I always tell people if you have to massage it to make it work before you even get it in an escrow, you're already starting behind the 8 ball.
Yeah. It's true, and that's what I told him. I'm like, all right, yeah, this isn't gonna work. I was like, they're not investor friendly at this point. She doesn't want to hear from us, so whatever, it happens a lot.
Yeah, it does. One of the biggest issue we had back in the day was, when you submit an offer in all cash, you had a lot of the pocket listings, a lot of the people trying to double end the deals.
Yep.
And so you had a strong offer and everything, but you wouldn't hear back from them.
Yeah. It's we were talking about double ending yesterday. Somebody in my office asking about it, and they're like, "Is it bad for somebody to double end?" I'm like, "No, not necessarily." Like if they have a listing legitimately, and you call them and say, "Oh, I'd like for you to write me up the offer," and everything. There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody's going to be.
It's legal.
It's legal, and they just have another form you sign, which is I think it's part of the standard packet.
Yeah,
now
it's
anyway.
a dual agency.
Mm-hmm.
Telling as long as the buyer understands.
Yeah, and it's not bad. We actually bought a property where the agent just recently was that, and we actually felt that he was representing the seller too much, and we weren't getting our side taken. And we had to call him on it. Like, hey, look, man, we know you're our agent too, and I hope you know that means you got to work for us too. So we need you to be a mediator here, not work for the seller in this because.
Hence the problem of dual agencies. In our office, we don't do them. If a buyer comes to me and says, I want to buy a house, I will put them with one of my agents. I will put them with but I will not, because the liability because of what you just said is so high. Because if they buy the house and something goes wrong and you go to arbitration or something, who do you really represent? Who's paying you?
The seller in most cases.
And so it's very easy for them to say you withheld information you knew because it would have affected the buyer. So we avoid that at all costs.
Yeah, it happens,
And you just said it. You felt you weren't being the one correctly represented.
But, we have the guts to tell him to his face. And a lot of people don't. They just kind of let it ride, and then they feel like they got, gypped or something, and then they come back later with a lawsuit. And, I don't want to sue a real estate agent because – I feel like he was representing the seller more. We're like, hey man, you gotta come our way a little bit on this because you're giving way too much to their side, and we're not getting anything from you. So, that was one of the ones where Steven, my partner, he was like, should I just be the agent representing us? Should I just I'll take the commission? That pretty much snapped him into action pretty quick. But yeah, I think it's tricky, but there's nothing wrong with it necessarily. People do it.
Well, like I said, it's legal as long as you fully disclose. It's perfectly legal. The state of California allows it. But from a liability standpoint, to me, it's as a broker, it's not worth it.
Now, are you so? Let's say one of your agents in your brokerage has the listing. You'd be okay with somebody else from your office, also another agent in your
as long
as
it's two different agents, you are fine.
Yeah.
They could be from the same company.
Yeah.
Where you get in trouble, it's one agent,
right,
representing both parties.
Or if it's the broker, is the listing agent and the
exactly, because it's just too many what ifs.
Yeah, the brokers have the deep pockets,
No, we're supposed to. We're called brokers because we're broker than everybody else.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I tell everybody we just have more liability than everybody else. If they sue you, they're going to sue me.
Yeah. So hey, you can do it. Just for those of you listening out there, you can do it. It's something we've used where when we're looking at property that's for sale, oftentimes the first person we're going to call is the listing agent anyway, and we're going to say, "Hey, I'm a buyer. If you want to write it up, I'm okay with you double ending it." Like it's two commissions to them, it's two sides, and sometimes we even offer them the list back on the back side, so they might potentially get 3 sides or even 4 if they bring the buyer on the back side too. So
and it makes sense, and people do it all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Zillow Premium agent, and I get people all the time that they call on my listings and they tell me that.
Yeah.
They say, and I say, you know what? I don't care who buys it, just as long as we meet the certain requirements.
Right. Are you finding that more? We were having this conversation the other day. Steven said he's never gotten a call off of one of his signs, but it's been a while since he's put a sign in the yard anyway.
You know what? Signs to me, everything's online. So I actually get more people calling about renting the home.
Really?
If they see the sign than buying the home. Everybody goes on their phone now. Everybody goes online. Everybody does that now. So they see a sign, they pull it up on their phone. So if you see a for sale sign, what they do is they pull it up on the phone.
Yeah.
And they get there's no need. Back in the day, if you wanted information, you drove around, looked for the for sale signs,
right,
and you called the agent.
Yeah.
There's no need for that anymore.
No.
What they do is, and a perfect example is this. Back in the day, the typical process was is list a house, put on the MLS, put a for sale sign, have an open house.
Mm-hmm.
Still perfectly fine. But the reality is that now everything is online. So now it's more important now that, like when we do an open house, we actually do a specific called a virtual open house, where for 2 hours I do it online via Periscope, Facebook Live. The way I look at it is you could be at your son's soccer game and still see the open house.
Yeah.
And because they're live, you can actually tell me, can you show me the kitchen again?
That's cool.
And so what I'm saying is everything's gone that way. So the for sale sign isn't really that important anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The flyers aren't as important anymore.
Right, in the house.
Now, the seller still likes all that because that's what they're used to.
Gives them something to do with their hands when they walk in.
Exactly. But here's the reality is I get more hits on my listings from me advertising via Facebook, a landing page.
Yeah.
So when I get a landing page, I find out if it's a $500,000 homes, what income level are they in? Who can afford to buy this house? How much down payment do they need? If it's a certain area, it's probably going to be somebody from Orange County, whatever it may be. And then I pay a lot of money to get that ad in front of that person on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I get more calls from that than I'll do from any for sale sign.
That's the different economy. It's completely different, and people need to adjust their marketing strategies. All those people that are just now getting their first website, like they're 10 years behind the times, minimum, more than 10 years, like 15 years behind the times. So, so let's talk a little bit about when you get these people online. What are their expectations? Like how do you test their seriousness?
Great question. This is the number one challenge you face. In my office, I have to talk to all the leads because I can call the BS when I hear it.
Yep.
When you've been around long enough,
Mm-hmm.
asking a few questions, you can find out if an agent is new. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know exactly. Well, consumers are the same way.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is you have to, do you have a loan? Are you pre-qualified? If they don't know what you're talking about, that doesn't mean they're not a good prospect. That just means you're not going to be somebody that's going to waste your time on showing the house.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be able to, and what they'll do is they'll push on you. They'll actually say, well, no, I understand that. But if I like it, then I'll go get pre-qualified.
Yeah.
So I always put it on my seller. I have been instructed by my sellers not to show any house unless I have a pre-qualification in front of me for security reasons.
Yeah. We do it too. I mean, we require direct underwriting approval before we even accept an offer from anybody. We'll let them walk through usually, but depends on the house, of course. But we want a full DU underwriting approval before we're gonna.
Yeah, because at least that shows a level of commitment. Now, obviously, a DU approval can, BS in, BS out. I mean, you can still, but
True.
at least they've talked to a lender,
Yeah.
and you can call the lender and at least see where they're at.
And we do.
But the number one thing is with the online is to interview them as much as it, because the problem is, since everything is online, they expect you to jump through hoops to help them.
Yeah.
And the problem is most realtors will do that because they don't want to lose the client.
Right.
The way I look at it is you're doing them an injustice and yourself. So I tell them, I understand you're motivated. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
But why would you look at a house you can't afford, or more importantly, look at a house without even knowing what your monthly payment is? So you got to put it back on them.
Right.
And then that's how you end. At the end, either they're going to cooperate or they're not. And if they don't, you put them in the teaser list and you move on. If they do, then you got a prospect. One thing I have noticed about online, though, I'll tell you this. Everybody that calls us online, I'd say 90% of them are not going to buy a house or sell a house for at least 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's in their thought process.
Right.
So they're doing research. Nobody wants to be sold, but everybody appreciates a good salesperson.
Sure.
So they don't want you to sell them right there. They're just doing research because it's a low and truly and all of that. So you have to understand when you talk to these people, you can't close them.
No.
You have to educate them. So 6 months down the road when they are ready, you're the guy they call.
Of course. So are you finding these people have not already picked out a house? Like when they're calling you, they're not saying like, I found this house on Zillow and it's like, it's our dream home.
Yes. Absolutely, 100%, because that's what gets the imagination going.
Yeah.
But then you have to be the guy that slaps them with the reality, which is, I'd love to see your kids play in the backyard, but why would you put yourself emotionally through that if you don't even know if you can buy it? So let's let's crawl before we can walk. And a lot of them don't like that. They don't like to be told that. But, I mean, like I said, who's the expert? You or them?
Yeah.
So now, if we're going to have an open house, sometimes there's unique situations. Like I have a client right now that is moving from Indiana. They're buying in Thousand Oaks a house for about $1.5 million.
Okay.
And the employer moved them out here. The employer's giving them the 20%. That was part of the package to move them out here to buy it and everything. That's a little different because I'm only going to be able to see them twice.
Yeah.
And so, but I was able to verify data and stuff like that.
Sure. Is that through like a relocation company?
No, actually, I was in San Antonio as a speaker, and one of them heard me speak, and she's like, "I have somebody. I think you'll hit it off." And I'm very sarcastic.
Okay.
And this lady the seller is extremely sarcastic, so we immediately hit it off. So it came through that. But there's unique situations, but for the most part, what happens is people go online, they fall in love with the house via the pictures. They call that agent. They want to see the house. Then they see it, and then they're just like, okay, I want to buy it. But now you're going backwards.
Yeah.
And so our job is to tell them no.
It's also tough, too. I mean, days on market's very low right now. So, I mean, I know we put a property up. We get people immediately wanting to write offers on it. It's just the way the market is, especially out here in the affordable price range stuff. Obviously, you get into the $800,000 price range in certain areas. You got a little while to wait, but people might find the house and they love it and they want to go see it. It's like, we already have like 3 offers, so.
Yeah, and assuming it's priced right, of course.
Which they always are with us.
Well, see, I love that because I always tell people 2 reasons why a house don't sell: overpriced, or you walk in and it looks like a bomb went off, and they still want market value for it.
Yeah, I know.
And so it's amazing, but but that's the other thing is, if you know that's the case, you have to prepare them for that, because the reality is, going back to the emotional side of it, they need to understand, on average, you might have to look at 10 homes, make 3 offers before you get it.
Yeah.
But if you don't set that expectation, like, oh, you love it, let's get you in, I'll get you in, it'll be your dream home. And then when they don't get it, what happens? Now they're depressed.
Yeah.
This is not worth it. This is too hard. I'm not going to do it. You just lost a client and a potential homeowner just because you did not set the right expectation for them.
Yeah, and that's tough. I mean, because we've heard about the buyer fatigue, where people they've been looking for a home for a while and they've written several offers on homes, and they find the house they love and then they don't get their offer accepted for a multitude of different reasons. And a lot of times you can trace it back to the fact that they're working with an inexperienced agent. And I'm not going to say like don't work with an inexperienced agent. Like, yeah, your sister, your brother's an agent, that's cool, but sometimes they don't know what you need to put in your offer to make it enticing to a seller. Because if the seller listed it with a really experienced agent, the seller's agent's going to say this is not a good offer. They're putting 0.5% down, and they're expecting to get 99% financing on this right now. And they're not even in the VA.
and it's like I told you earlier when we talked earlier. You don't know what you don't know. So an experienced realtor will be able to sit down and sell the offer, as opposed to, somebody that just submits an offer.
Right.
And that's a big difference.
It is a big difference. I've seen some very poorly written offers.
The funniest ones are where you receive an offer and the agent never calls you.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, you just sent me an offer and you're not even following up to talk about it, ask me if I received it. Nothing.
Just sent it over, emailed, hopefully you got it.
And you crossing your fingers hoping I respond.
You know what I got lately? I just got this. We have a house in Running Springs we're selling, and with the offer also was a letter, a handwritten letter from the potential people looking to buy it. They wrote a nice letter saying this is the house it's their dream house and all that. I said, great, so we have some counter language we specifically always put in every counter we always do, and we send it up. I don't know if we ended up getting that offer or another one, but I thought it was a really nice gesture. I was like, I was actually pulling for them. I hope we're selling it to them. I don't know if we are or not, but I hope we are.
And you know what? It makes sense because what you do is you're bringing a face for the offer.
Yeah.
We back in the in 05, 06, 07 when you didn't even have to put a for sale sign. It just sold like that.
Yeah.
We would take pictures of the family, and say this is so. I mean, it's getting to that point now in certain areas.
Yeah.
Where you have to sell it.
Yeah, you got to sell the people buying it to the seller.
I had a client that specifically we closed escrow 2 months ago, and the reason they got it because my client's a military.
Do you think that I'm just going to ask because I guess it popped in my mind immediately. It was fair housing, right? So obviously you can't discriminate, So if you're going to sell the to a family and you see this is a very nice looking Italian family, it's very clear that they're Italian, or something like that in the picture. Obviously, is that something that you're concerned about at all?
No, because it's your job to present all offers to your seller and explain to him why one bed offer is stronger than other. Stronger doesn't mean it's more money, because I could offer more, but no, it's not going to appraise. You know what I'm talking? Or they have a shady lender where you're like, I can't get a return phone call from them, or you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So at the end, the seller makes the decision, not you.
Right.
So as long as I present all offers and explain why certain are strong and certain are weak, at that point the seller makes a decision. I am not making that decision. So there's nothing wrong with that. Where you get into problems is where you tell somebody like, well, in this community we only want these type of people. So wrong last name, wrong last name, wrong last name.
Yeah.
At that point, that's where you run into problems, which you don't want to do.
Of course not. No, and yeah, I know there's been tons of lawsuits and stuff that have come up for things like this. So it's for me, like it's I that's the first thing that popped in my mind when you said we take a picture of the family like looking to buy, to market the people trying to buy. But it's like, what if for some reason the seller just hates Italian people? I don't know why they would, but
but that's a risk you're taking because maybe people are people.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, you taking a picture, they don't like the way you look.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, they might just say, because the seller makes a decision. So, yeah, you got to be careful. But at the end of the day, I think what you're doing is you're not selling a picture of the family, but what you're really doing is selling the picture the family wants to buy. And it starts with the school districts. If it's a good school district, then you have, hey, I have 2 kids, and this is perfect for them.
Yep.
And so there's ways of doing it without having to get in that.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, marketing the sellers and actually try to, get the it was the first time I've ever gotten a letter from a buyer. So I thought that was nice. I liked it. So I don't know. For those people out there looking to sell or looking to bring buyers or whatever to their deals, definitely try marketing your buyer.
Tug on an emotional string.
Yeah, it works. I read it on a Saturday. I told you earlier, I don't really work on the weekends, so I actually read this letter on a Saturday. It got me out of my normal schedule. So good for them. What was I going to say? I was going to say something and I forgot.
Must have been a lie.
I'm just gonna lie flat out about something. Who knows? No, we were talking about you were talking about marketing the sellers, and I don't know, something popped in my head at that moment. I forgot it now, but cool. So anything? I mean, you're the president. We're running short on time. We're like 8 minutes left before the hour. So is there anything you wanted to sort of mention to people out there? We've got a lot of listeners and stuff.
Real estate, I love it. I would say there's still a lot of fraud out there, unfortunately. Make sure that whoever you're speaking to is educating you on that. There's certain little things you can do. One of the big frauds right now is rental.
Yeah.
And people still fall for it. I'm on vacation, send me a check for $1,500 and I'll send you the keys in the mail. And it's very easy as a realtor for me to check who owns a property. You know this.
Oh, yeah.
It's very easy for me to check who owns a property. Where is it at? If the name doesn't match the homeowner. I mean, there's certain little easy things to do. But at the end of the day, I still think real estate is the best investment. And obviously, I do it, but it's because I can see it. I can touch it. I have some sort of control. Nothing against the stock market or mutual funds or anything like that, but I have no control there.
Yeah.
I just put my money in there and hope and pray.
Yeah, you're hoping.
And so real estate is, and you know, this country is beautiful in that. For many years, I dealt a lot with Chinese investors.
Okay.
And this is right about the THR time when I was working with them. And you know, one thing they taught me was, you have these people that come from these countries where you lease the land. You know, Mexico, you never own the land. You're leased for pretty much 99 years.
Right.
So we are one of the few countries where you're offered the opportunity to actually, as long as you pay your property taxes.
Right. You'll find out who really owns the land.
Exactly. You own the land. And so it's an opportunity. I saw this stat, and I think this is important. Home ownership is important for the following reason, not just because this is how I make my living, but every community that has more homeowners than renters is a better community because they take more pride in it.
Absolutely.
It's nothing against renters. We've all rented.
Sure.
So it's just they take better pride in their stuff because it's theirs. They have to pay for it. I saw this that by the California Association of Realtors put out a report that by 2020, for the first time in history, there will be more renters than homeowners in the state of California.
I could see that happening.
And it's because they're being priced out.
Yeah.
And it's because everything's getting so expensive. And if you think about prices going up, we live in the Inland Empire where our incomes aren't keeping up with the price of the homes.
Right.
You got interest rates are definitely going to go up. You need to get in before you get priced out. And I always tell people, there's two ways to look at a real estate. You know, people say, when's the best time to buy? And I say, is this your primary home or an investment? Because if it's an investment, that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
Rental versus flip. What kind of ROI are you looking for? There's a lot of factors to consider.
Oh, yeah.
But if this is your home, this is what my father taught me. If this is your primary home, you buy when you're ready.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it goes up or down. You're not using this as a credit card.
Yeah.
My dad bought his house in Mariloma in 1991. We grew up in Rancho Cucamonga.
Okay.
He still has that rental property over there. We came to Cucamonga because we lived in a bad neighborhood. And so he bought his house for $165 or $195, like in 91. Then it went down to $165. And then it went up to $600,000.
Sure.
And then it went back down to $280. And my dad said, you know, mijo, it didn't matter. I wasn't selling it. This is my home.
Yeah.
But people get caught up in this. When's the best time to buy? The best time to buy is when you're ready to buy.
Yeah, as long as you can afford it.
And assuming you could afford it. So I always tell people, don't time the market because the market will time you out.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a primary homeowner, buy because there's nothing better than investing in your future, and real estate is one way of doing it.
We met a guy at one of these, like because we've in our quest for finding like investor capital, we stumbled upon this group, this hedge fund group that get together, and we go to this huge hedge fund conference they had in Beverly Hills, and so we're at this thing, and this guy, like, first he's telling us about how big their company is and how great they are and all this stuff, and he couldn't stop talking about how great he was, and then all of a sudden he's like, you know what? I'm actually looking to buy my first home. Like, and then he comes down to our level for a sec, and we're like, and he's like, you know, what should I buy? You know, we're like, what do you want? You know, and it was just like, what do you want? And he's like, well, I really want to get this like condo in like Playa del Rey or something like that, and you know, we're like, well, can you afford it? And he's like, yeah, I can afford it. And like, then buy it. Why are you asking like this question? Like, does it have everything you want? Yes. Can you afford it? Yes. Then buy it. There's no discussion. Who cares where the market is, what the market's going to do? You're like, a lot of people say your primary residence is your best investment, but they don't mean investment in terms of dollars. They mean it's your best investment because you plant roots. It's, you know, it's a different type of investment.
That's correct.
You know, you have pride in something, and it's, you know, it's a place to call home. It's a different thing than buying it with an expectation of making a profit. If you hang on to it for 30 years, there's a good chance you're going to probably profit on it at that point, you know, or you can refinance it out at the peak of the market and buy a bunch of toys and, you know.
Like, in 30 years, refinance it 5 different times and buy a new boat every single time.
I like that. That story depresses me, you know, like.
And but you know everybody did it.
I know a lot of people did it.
And you know the best part of those people?
What's that?
Be friends with them.
Yeah, I know. Get to know them now.
You know, the funny thing is, back in the days, you know, everybody wanted the new cars, the big boats, and all of that. And you know, I had a decent car, but Now I tell, I don't drive a high-end car.
Right.
And they're like, well, why don't you? I'm like, because it doesn't matter to me anymore. You
Yeah.
know, I've evolved. I drive my little Paco-mobile that's wrapped, and me and my wife have, the cars we need. But it still amazes me because I see a lot of new realtors get in, and what's the first thing they go do?
Mercedes.
Go lease a Mercedes or a Beamer or something. And it's like, well, what's your payment? I'm only paying $600 for it. I'm like, oh, my God.
And then you're going to go way over your miles because when you're in real estate, you put miles on cars. So yeah, I have a Kia. Like I don't drive a crazy car because I beat cars up.
That's
so
me.
I don't want to beat up a nice car. I'd feel horrible beating up something nice.
Well, this car, I paid it off, and I was going to get rid of it. And I told my wife, I'm going to wrap it. She goes, that's going to look dumb. I said, no.
Yeah.
I want to make it look good. I'm going to wrap it. That car has been the best $1,600 investment I've ever done because it's a driving billboard.
True. Well, hey, we're about out of time. I think I'm going to just quickly mention, because we didn't really talk about it, but if you're interested in investing in real estate, come out to the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. We meet at the Mission Inn on the 4th Wednesday of every month. You can look us up on meetup.com. And if you're looking at doing anything else, we do the first Wednesday of every month, we do a cash flow game, which is Robert Kiyosaki's board game. We do that at the Bar and Grill Company in Yucaipa. You can also find that information on meetup.com under the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. Definitely would like to thank Paco Lycia for coming out today.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll have to have you come back out again. We got a lot more to talk about.
I would love it.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll see you all again next week on Thursday at 4 o'clock. Have a good week.
Thank you.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
I'm Tom Busby, CNBC. President Trump today met with 24 CEOs from big